He lifted his glorious, agonized eyes to mine. "You are the most important thing to me now. The most important thing to me ever." My head was spinning at the rapid change in direction our conversation had taken. From the cheerful topic of my impending demise, we were suddenly declaring ourselves. He waited, and even though I looked down to study our hands between us, I knew his golden eyes were on me. "You already know how I feel, of course," I finally said. "I'm here," which, roughly translated, means I would rather die than stay away from you. I frowned. "I am an idiot." "You are an idiot," he agreed with a laugh. Our eyes met, and I laughed too. We laughed together at the idiocy and sheer impossibility of such a moment. "And so the lion fell in love with the lamb," he murmured. I looked away, hiding my eyes as I thrilled to the word. "What a stupid lamb," I sighed. "What a sick, masochistic lion." He stared into the shadowy forest for a long moment, and I wondered where his thoughts had taken him. "Why—" I began, and then paused, not sure how to continue. He looked at me and smiled. Sunlight glinted off his face, his teeth. "Yes?" "Tell me why you ran from me before." His smile faded. "You know why." "No, I mean, exactly what did I do wrong? I'll have to be on my guard, you see, so I'd better start learning what I should do, what I shouldn't do. This, for example." I stroked the back of his hand. "Seems to be all right." He smiled again. "You didn't do anything wrong, Bella. It was my fault." "But I want to help, if I can, to not make this harder for you." "Well," he contemplated for a moment, "it was just how close you were. Most humans instinctively shy away from us, are repelled by our alienness. I wasn't expecting you to come so close. And the smell of your throat." He stopped short, looking to see if he'd upset me. "Okay then," I said flippantly, trying to alleviate the suddenly tense atmosphere. I tucked my chin. "No throat exposure." It worked. He laughed. "No, really, it was more the surprise than anything else." He raised his free hand and placed it gently on the side of my neck. I sat very still, the chill of his touch a natural warning, a warning telling me to be terrified. But there was no feeling of fear in me. There were, however, other feelings. "You see," he said, "perfectly fine." My blood was racing, and I wished I could slow it, sensing that this must make everything so much more difficult, the thudding of my pulse in my veins. Surely he could hear it. "The blush on your cheeks is lovely," he murmured. He gently freed his other hand. My hand fell limply into my lap. Softly he brushed my cheek, then held my face between his marble hands. "Be very still," he whispered, as if I wasn't already frozen. Slowly, never moving his eyes from mine, he leaned toward me. Then abruptly, but very gently, he rested his cold cheek against the hollow at the base of my throat. I was quite unable to move, even if I'd wanted to. I listened to the sound of his even breathing, watching the sun and the wind play in his bronze hair, more human than any other part of him. With deliberate slowness, his hand slid down the side of my neck. I shivered, and I heard him catch his breath, but his hands didn't pause as they slowly moved to my shoulders, and then stopped. His face drifted to the side, his nose skimming across my collarbone. He came to rest with the rest. He came to rest with the side of his face pressed tenderly against my chest, listening to my heart. "Ah," he sighed. I don't know how long we sat without moving. It could have been hours. Eventually the throb of my pulse quieted, but he didn't move or speak again as he held me. I knew at any moment it could be too much, and my life could end, so quickly that I might not even notice. And I couldn't make myself be afraid. I couldn't think of anything except that he was touching me. And then, too soon, he released me. His eyes were peaceful. "It won't be so hard again," he said with satisfaction. "Was that very hard for you?" "Not nearly as bad as I imagined it would be. And you? No, it wasn't bad for me. He smiled at my inflection. You know what I mean. I smiled. Here. He took my hand and placed it against his cheek. Do you feel how warm it is? And it was almost warm, his usually icy skin. But I barely noticed, for I was touching his face, something I'd dreamed of constantly since the first day I'd seen him. Don't move, he whispered. No one could be still like Edward. He closed his eyes and became as immobile as stone, a carving under my hand. I moved slowly. I moved even more slowly than he had, careful not to make one unexpected move. I caressed his cheek, delicately stroked his eyelid, the purple shadow in the hollow under his eye. I traced the shape of his perfect nose, and then, so carefully, his flawless lips. His lips parted under my hand, and I could feel his cool breath on my fingertips. I wanted to lean in, to inhale the scent of him. So I dropped my hand and leaned away, not wanting to push him too far. He opened his eyes, and they were hungry. Not in a way to make me fear, but rather to tighten the muscles in the pit of my stomach and send my pulse hammering through my veins again. I wish, he whispered, I wish you could feel the complexity, the confusion I feel, that you could understand. He raised his hand to my hair, then carefully brushed it across my face. Tell me, I breathed. I don't think I can. I've told you, on the one hand, the hunger, the thirst, that deplorable creature that I am. I feel for you, and I think you can understand that to an extent. Though, he half smiled. As you are not addicted to any illegal substances, you probably can't empathize completely. But his fingers touched my lips lightly, making me shiver again. There are other hungers I don't even understand, that are foreign to me. I may understand that better than you think. I'm not used to feeling so human. Is it always like this? For me? I paused. No, never. Never before this. He held my hands between his. They felt so feeble in his iron strength. I don't know how to be close to you, he admitted. I don't know if I can.